Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Now what we want to do is kind of walk through everything we kind of learned in the previous video when it came to some of the basics of Python and write a quick program, kind of show you how it's all applied, and show you how to use the IDE we're going to use, which is going to be Visual Studio, on how to write these programs, and let you go at it after that with your assignments, okay? So hopefully not too hard, but again, that's a nice beginning to this language. Uh, what we're going to do is write this particular program. It's a week 2 sample program, I will call it. And we're going to create a program that will accept the original price of an item and a discount to calculate the total price. So basically, you got the original price, a discount amount, a percentage, if you will, and then we'll take that and then we'll multiply those together, or at least subtract the discount from 1 as we kind of go through it, and we will then come up with the total price. So a pretty simple program. My inputs for this are the original price and the discount. All right, and my outputs are the total price. Pretty simple, right? In this case here, okay? And so my pseudocode in this case is going to be this. We're going to go get the original price and our discount. As you know, if I like designing my code out first and making sure that I have the solution all set before I dive into any kind of programming language. So in this case here, I'm going to get my original price and my discount. My total price is going to equal the original price times 1 minus the discount. The discount is going to be entered in a way of like .20 for 20% discount, .30 for 30% discount, and so on. Once I have my total price, I will display it. All right. So this particular problem will show us how to do our variables and how we need to take care of our variables, and we'll also then take care of doing our outputs and so on. Okay, and we'll get into a little bit then of some of the operators to take care of this problem. And again, then after this, you guys can go at it and try some of the different things yourself. All right. So how do we get started? Uh, as I said before, you can write these programs, Python, in a lot of different ways. You can use Notepad++ to write your .py extension programs. However, Visual Studio works really well with it, and so why not take advantage of that? And so with that, to take advantage of that, I guess you got to make sure your Visual Studio has everything associated with it with that. If your Visual Studio is downloaded the way we asked you to download it and you have everything, you should have Visual C, Visual Basic, and so on. And if you keep perusing down, you should see Python. Okay? There's machine learning and there's web, but in this case here, just click on Python and you should see a Python application right here. Okay? We'll go ahead and name this. We'll call this week, I'm just going to call it week 2 sample. Okay? Program. All right. And I'm going to make sure that it's saved somewhere that I can find it. Might just put that on my desktop here. Okay, just make sure you put that on your appropriate resource, be it your documents or your flash drive or your out there in the cloud somewhere. Okay, and we'll just kind of do that. Okay, and I'm gonna press OK. We'll let it do its work here. And there you go. It's going to bring us to something looking like this. As you can see, there's no form, right? Because this is not a GUI-based language. We can do things against the GUI, but for the most part, all we're doing is that .py type file that we're going to create this program in. All right. If we go look at our Solution Explorer, you'll see that it created a solution for us called week 2 sample, and then basically what it did is created this .py extension. This right here is the only thing you need to hand in to me. So when you're uploading your programs, you don't really need to zip this file and create the whole thing. You can, but I'd rather you just go ahead and upload the .py. It'll make it a lot easier for me to look at things and so on. And that's really the only thing that really needs to be, you need to have to be able for it to be interpreted and to actually work. All right? Over here is where you actually write your program. Now, what I have done in this case, to make things a little bit more simple and not what you don't have to sit here and watch me type, I already wrote the program and I went ahead and pasted this in. But let's go through this program, if you will, and relate back to the video that we just talked about and what everything is going on here and what's going on. So in this case here, the hashtags, as you see, represent comments. I want you to do exactly this on every one of your programs. I will give you this program. It'll be out there on Blackboard for you under this week's content as a template that you can actually use. Copy and paste that if you will to get started if you want. But regardless, make sure every one of your programs at least tells me what the assignment is and what your name is. Okay, that will help out quite a bit. All right, good. All right, so if we go back to our, and this is so much different in Visual Basic where we got to declare a variable. We don't declare variables here. We just, as soon as we use them, they become declared. So look how I did this one in this case. Now I needed to get my input variables, right? Original price and discount. In this case, what we're going to do is we're going to get them by saying equals. I'm going to cast it as a float. I want this to be a decimal and then use the input and so on. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you how this looks first, and we'll come back and analyze this code. It might help a little bit to see where we're headed with this, and then we can come back and analyze a little bit more. So to run the program, you're going to do this. You'll hit that little attach piece up there. And excuse me. And as you see, this comes up to be almost like a green string, if you will, a DOS prompt, a command prompt type of look. It's going to say enter original price of an item. Losing my voice here. Excuse me. This comes from the fact that I actually put in here input enter original price of an item. It's going to take whatever I put in here, 200. Once I press enter, it will take that, cast that as a decimal, and put that into my DBL original price variable that, based upon me introducing it right there, has now been declared. The next line says enter discount of item. In this case here, that came from enter discount of item. Okay, I had to enter that myself. I put those words in there myself. It's an input. That's how you get your input. And I basically took that whole piece there and cast it as a float. Once again, as we talked about, making sure this will be a decimal. So in this case here, I'll put 20%. Okay. So if this thing all works correctly, if we actually put some test conditions here, 20% of 200 should be $40. So my total price, if it all works out, should be $160. And so in this case, what it did was it took the DBL original price, it multiplied that by 1 minus DBL discount. As you see, I put brackets around this because, once again, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, right? Order of preference. So please excuse parentheses first, and then exponents. My dear is multiplication and division, and Sally is addition and subtraction. The one thing I learned in parochial schools from Sister, what was her name? Leah, I think her name was. Yeah, Sister Leah. She scared me. Anyway, I digress. So with that said, so it's sort of to do 1 minus this discount. After that's done, and then it'll go ahead and multiply, in this case, 80% of the original price, giving me 160. I went ahead and did a print. The total is, I put a space right there. You see how that space is there, comma, and then I added the price after there. Kind of concatenated the whole string together. And that, my friends, is your very first program. Pretty much everything we just did in regards to looking through that first set of basics of Python. If you're looking at this and saying, okay, that's simple, well, all right, good. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page here. Next week, we'll pick it up a little bit. We'll get into conditional programming and start writing some of those as we kind of get into it. But like everything, a little bit of a step-by-step. This is the first piece through it. So with that, take these examples, take this example, take the videos we have, take the resources I supplied on Blackboard for this week, and then try it yourself and apply it, okay? Make sure Visual Studio works for you. If for some reason you do not have a version of Visual Studio that has Python on it, you could go back out to Microsoft. I think it's called Microsoft Azure at this point in time. It might change by the time you listen to this video, and download it again and make sure you have Python on there. If not, you can always use Notepad++ to create this program, and then you will execute that program from your Python command prompt on Windows. Does that make sense? Give it a try. Make sure you can do it all. If you run into any issues, contact your instructor so we can help you at least get past these initial programs and get this stuff working before we get too complex with it. All right, with that, good luck.